sons and daughters. Let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you.
We thank you for bringing us all here safely this afternoon. We thank you for that as we come to the end, we're nearing
the end. We're nearing this journey, Father. We thank you, Father, for granting us wisdom, understanding, discernment,
clarity, stability, and direction.
We thank you, Father, for increasing in our supporters unity, firmness, strength of mind, strength of togetherness, and strength of purpose. We thank you for covering our leaders, keeping them focused, Father, and helping them to know that we stand behind them, strong with them,
and united in one purpose. So, Lord, I ask you to bless the proceedings today.
Cover each and every one. Let the Holy Spirit move through them and guard the words that come out from their mouths as they educate our people
today. So all these mercies and more we ask in your mighty name, and take us all back safely home, granting us journey's mercies. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Thank you very much, Dr. Fletcher. And ladies and gentlemen, today's Sunday Live will see a lineup of speakers who, as always, will shed light on the truth and the realities that are taking place here in St. Lucia. If you're looking for fantasy, deceit, lies, and bluff, you go to the other side. But if you want the truth and you want the reality, you are where it is. The United Workers' Party welcomes all of you. This is the party of truth. This is the party of hope. And without delaying too much, I would like to indicate that today's Sunday's Live is coming to you out of the constituency of Castries North. And in light of this, to give you a proper Castries North welcome, I would like to invite the chairman of Castries North, Mr. Lionel Ellis, who will deliver the welcome address.
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Prudent, other distinguished members of the executive of the United Workers' Party, well-wishers, members, visitors, good afternoon. We'd also like to say a special hello to those listening online or watching online. I come to you from the gateway to St. Lucia from the north by air. That's Castries North constituency. For those of you who didn't realize that, anytime you're coming into St. Lucia, the first thing you see is Castries North when you land. And Castries North is a very, very important constituency. We are proud to say that we have boast of several commissioners of police, prominent lawyers and doctors, the first shopping mall in St. Lucia, the Gibbwoods Mall, and other very, too many to mention, significant projects in Castries North. The United Workers' Party has been responsible for all of the significant projects in Castries North. I don't know of anything that the other party has done in Castries North that has been so prominent. And we will continue as soon as the general election is called and we win. We will continue to develop Castries North. So today, you are in the beautiful constituency of Castries North. I am pleased to announce on behalf of my executive that we have selected a candidate, and he will be announced at a later date by the party leader. But just to let you know that we are on the move, and we will be seeking to pull back all the UWP votes that was disguised by a blue piece of cloth and placed under a red blanket. We are going to do that. Let me welcome you. Let me welcome you to Castries North. And I want to thank you very much. I want you to, with the short bit of time I have, let me say, enjoy the live entertainment experience under the banner of the United Workers' Party. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ellis, Chairman of the Castries North Constituency Branch. And as you just heard, the United Workers' Party has selected a candidate for Castries North. That is what the Chairman of the Constituency Branch has just announced. And I will go further to announce that, in fact, the United Workers' Party has selected the next representative for Castries North. Well, that is exactly what that candidate. But stay tuned. Our political leader, our chairman, the leadership of the party, will be announcing to you very soon who is that candidate, as well as the candidates for some other constituencies. Stay tuned to the United Workers' Party. It is coming. When I tell you there is hope, believe me, there is hope in sight. Ladies and gentlemen, you just heard Mr. Ellis, who is a stalwart of the United Workers' Party, long-standing member. Now, there are those of us who have been around for a while, but what we appreciate most is the fact that the United Workers' Party is a formidable force. And among us, the more experienced, we are happy to embrace the youth, the younger members of our party. And when I speak of the youth, when I speak of the younger members of our party, we are not like the other side. I see Jeremiah Norbert, who is one of the youngest on their side, emulating what the leader has been doing, that is spewing lies to the population of St. Lucia. But I guess as you grow up, you emulate what you see from those ahead of you, from your parents and your leaders. So, what do you expect from our youth? You expect the truth, and you expect reality. So to address you right now, again, another individual who hails from the Castries North constituency, but in fact is a member of the United Workers' Party youth arm. I call on, some of you already know him, he has made a name for himself in a short space of time. I would like to invite to the podium Mr. Josh Harrow to address you.
Good evening, everyone. Just like my hair, I have evolved into this new year. We're gonna have some fun. Now, I want to begin this by saying, my fellow St. Lucians, let us pause for a moment and ask ourselves, what is the value of a young mind? Is it merely a body to be thrown into the workforce without preparation? A vote to be exploited every election season then discarded? Or is it the very mere heartbeat of our nation, the foundation upon which our leaders stand? If we do not invest in our youth, we are building a future on quicksand. St. Lucia, our youth are crying out. Their voices echo through our streets, in our schools, and on social media platforms, and in every single community upon this island. I know you have seen it, I know you have heard it, I know you have felt it. But before I go any further, let us remember the power of young leadership. Alexander the Great conquered the known world before the age of 30. Joan of Arc, Nelson Mandela, Marcus Garvey, and many more. If you want to go even further, let's look biblically. David was a shepherd boy when he defeated Goliath. Joseph rose from slavery to lead Egypt. Esther saved her people, and Christ himself began his ministry when he was a youth. Timothy was instructed by Paul, quote, "Let not one despise your youth, but be an example," end of quote. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12. And we've seen it in our youth parliament this past week. Where is that recognition of young leadership in St. Lucia? Where is the investment in our future? The St. Lucia Labour Party has occupied office with grand promises, but where are the results? Where are the opportunities for young people? Where is the economic plan that allows them to dream beyond survival? Education remains outdated. Youth unemployment soars. And because of this, now they are resorting to crime. And when they resort to crime, they end up in jail. Jail has no rehabilitation program for their development, and young people are put in chambers with beasts. And when those same beasts come out, they ravage the streets, and we wonder why we have high crime. Even the youth say that's right. That's amazing. Healthcare is failing, and the cost of living is unbearable. Now, this one hits deep as a former youth worker. The National Lotteries Authority is one of the biggest agents for the Ministry of Youth and Sports when it comes to giving grants and funding for any major projects. And yet an $80 million loan was taken out for the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground. And yet how is that stadium being utilized? Is it utilized to its full extent where now money can be made to help cover those costs for that loan? No. National Lotteries is paying $800,000 a month that could have been put towards youth program, that could be put towards activities for the young people, that could be put towards development. Let me go even further. The Minister for Local Government and Housing indicated that the Strides of Unity activity was a product of the SLP. Let me explain to you something. I was part of this initiative back in 2018, and I want to call out Lisa, and I want to call out Kenson, because y'all were there. Y'all were part when the young people with just a bare couple thousands of dollars made it around the island in one day. Y'all took millions of dollars to go around the island in 1 month, and then you wonder why the young people have no activities in development, because you are putting money into all the wrong things. You took youth out of the Strides, and now there is no unity. Yes. And you wonder why we as the youth don't want anything to do with politics. Because you have shown what was youth-oriented and youth-created. Now you've taken it for your credibility and used us as tokenism. Yes. For shame. Now let me tell you a little truth. There's an old saying, give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man a fish to fish and he will eat for a lifetime. Yeah. In essence, give you $5,000 and they get an instant check. Teach them how to earn $5,000 every single month and they will sustain their lifetime. This administration hands out fish for votes. Let me say this again. This administration hands out fish for votes, knowing full well when the fish runs out, the people will be left hungry and needing them consistently, hand to mouth. We are not trying to create a nation of hand to mouth. We're trying to create a nation from hands to many generations to come. And those who criticize us, I like to say even greenhouse gases are needed for a planet to survive. Meaning that you can talk all the hot air you want. But, you know, we need haters. You need haters in your life just for you to understand how you're progressing. So to those who criticize us, who call us dreamers, we are making noise. They say we're making noise for no reason. I say this, a world without opposition is a world without progress. The sun has the moon to challenge it, the sea has the land to push against it, and even the tallest trees have the wind to make it strong. So we welcome the critics because they make us sharper, stronger, and more determined. They empower our unity as we make progress through the communities. Now, SLP has shown me something very interesting, and I always say this. There are two types of leaders. Those who rule by fear and those who rule by faith. Let me tell you about those who lead by fear. Leadership by fear silences voices, punishes dissent, and keeps people in line through intimidation. We have seen how this government victimizes those who dare to speak. And for those of you who have not seen the Sushi Girl incident, y'all remember that? Yes. They're ruling by fear. Flubber, we are going to rule by fear, by faith, by understanding, and move in unity. So let me say this, you cannot speak while you're moonwalking. Meaning in essence, when you speak, you must stand upon action and stand upon development. You cannot speak words forward and then be moving backwards and wonder why things seem distant. Why young people are not moving forward. You are moonwalking to the same words that you're trying to speak. There's no development. So young people, I say to you, do not let anyone tell you your voice does not matter. We must demand better. We must create a future where every child, every teenager, every young adult can look ahead with hope and not despair. Because when we uplift our youth, we uplift our nation. And I leave you with this final thought. There are stars in the sky, However, despite how many stars in the sky, you still need a torch to light your way. I thank you.
What can I say? You know, when Josh was talking about all the litany of young people who achieved great feat, for example, David who killed the Goliath, I don't know why I was thinking about Richard. So you know what you said that didn't bother me at all? But I can tell you someone who is worried about what you said there. Yes, David killed Goliath and many others you listed. Ladies and gentlemen, I say to you, your country is in safe hands only when the United Workers' Party is in control of this country. I say further to you that the future of your country is in safe hands when the United Workers' Party can attract the caliber of youth that I see around the United Workers' Party today. So, you think it's only young men we have? I would like you to know when we talk about youth, we talk about men and women. Men and women of substance, men of women of high caliber. I don't talk of people with no integrity. I don't talk about or associate with people with no character. I don't associate with liars who call themselves lion.
That's right.
Out of the mouth of babes. And for those of you who are not here, you're missing a lot if you're not here live, you know. There's a little child here, he can't be more than 3 years old. When Josh said one of the things that he said, that's right. You know? And so, ladies and gentlemen, the future of this country is bright. And so, I would like on this occasion to invite to the podium, this time, a woman, a lady who is also youth. I just want to demonstrate that we have balance among our youth. Both men and women, young men and women, are attracted to the light of the United Workers' Party. And so, I would like to invite Ms. Natoya Popo, who will now address you.
Bonsoir, my Flabo. Good night, my Flabo family. Many of you have been asking and wondering why I've been silent. But let me set the record straight tonight. Let's make it crystal clear. I've been here watching, analyzing, and trying to make sense of what's happening with our beloved nation. Because clearly, the slogan says, they care about us. Putting people first. Or the famous one that just came about, Philip cares. How can our government claim to care about the youth, but with every opportunity we have to excel and succeed, we are crushed? We are being suffocated at every turn. Everything we try to do as young people in this country, we are crushed. There is always a red tape, and then we are blamed because we are young people. A wise man once said, the biggest disability in life is a bad attitude. But let me make one thing clear. We are not the ones with the disability. The system is broken. It is time we stop accepting disrespect, mediocrity, dismissal performances, and deception at its highest, just because we are young. Enough of the empty promises. We are tired. No last. Philip, no last. Labour Party, no last. No pasa point yako. Our constitution defines youth as someone between the ages of 18 and 35. And guess what? We understand exactly what is happening. We have had enough of the handouts, the red tape, the victimization, and the lip service. We don't need charity. We need policies. We don't need sympathy. We need opportunities. We need real policies that will allow us to rise, to build, to sustain ourselves and our families. We are not pawns in your games.
That's right.
Tonight, I am sending a strong and unapologetic message to the government of St. Lucia and the St. Lucia Labour Party. Stop playing politics with the youth. We are not pawns in your game. We are not chess pieces to move around strategically to serve your own interests. And we will not be used as well-sharpened tools to protect your grip on power. We are the future of this nation, and we will not be ignored. Where is the investment in our talent? Lapani P.S. We continue to cry. We continue to beg, and we continue to plead. Look at the athletes. Darren Sammy, Johnson Charles, Julian Alfred, Naomi London, just to name a few. How many more could St. Lucia produce if we had real investment in sports? This government loves to boast about their success, but what did they actually do to create that success? What are they doing to ensure we produce even more champions in the future? Let me tell you, they board in planes, they're going on live, they're taking pictures, and they say that's how we support our athletes. That is not how you support the athletes. You create an avenue for them to flourish. Where are the programs? The training facilities, the scholarships, the investment in the young athletes who have potential to make us proud. Instead, we take credit for their success and their hard work, and we have done nothing. Where are the opportunities? All we hear is Alan did this, Alan did that, Alan Fessi, Alan Fessa, or Alan ki paka fini. As if we are entertained by petty politics and parties. But what about the real issues? Because some say, oh, party, ki paka fini pies. Where is the support for young entrepreneurs? Where is the infrastructure for agro-processing? Where are the certified manufacturing facilities and packaging facilities? Why is it easier to ship produce from Grenada to the US but not St. Lucia? Did you know that Grenada exports 45 tons of golden apples a week? Yeah, wow. Yet St. Lucia, rich in agriculture and resources, for instance, breadfruit, golden apples, peppers, and pineapples, not even forgetting the mangoes, is struggling to do the same. Can you imagine that when the world is claiming that St. Lucia has the best breadfruit in the world, we cannot ship not even a box? Why? Because the government is too busy fetting while our agriculture industry dies. The simple process of starting an application that takes 3 years, they've been in government for 4 years. You la pour 4 l'année et puis pass for application na toujours. Who in this government actually cares about building a sustainable future for all of us St. Lucians? No, they like to give us handouts and keep us struggling. Our country is in the worst state it has ever been. And trust me, I am being kind when I say that. Healthcare is at its lowest, but they stand before us boasting about universal healthcare. Free this, free that. But free what exactly? What new benefits have they given? What new benefits have they introduced? Are you telling me that rebranding something that's already there and you're telling me that you're giving something free? Come on. Hasn't free healthcare always been available for elderly with all the health welfare centers in the world and even in St. Lucia? So tell me, where is the real progress? Why wasn't true universal healthcare expanded to hospital visits and admissions for our elderly? The government is taking people for fools. St. Lucians are struggling to survive, and we hear PIP cares. Let's talk about reality. By calculations, the average St. Lucian needs $1,500 to survive. Let's not even count rent in that amount. But we all hear this uncaring government, gouvernement qui Pamela Botno. Inflation is global. Inflation is global. We have no control over it. Yes, inflation is global. But what are the global leaders doing? They are implementing strategic ways to ease the burden on their citizens. But all we hear is protect the victory in St. Lucia. So my question is simple. What has this government done to ease the suffering of the people? Is this leadership or is this a circus? Because 4 years of being in a circus, I don't want to stay there anymore. I'm not in Mexico. I'm not anywhere else. My Flabo family, let's not pretend. Instead of leading, this government spent taxpayers' money to attack, mock, violate, and silence anyone who dares to disagree with them. Are we witnessing the rise in authorization in St. Lucia? No. In this country, we want ourselves and for the next generation. Are we really going to sit back and allow this dangerous trend to continue? Enough is enough. The young of St. Lucia, listen to me carefully. We deserve better. We demand better. We cannot keep accepting crumbs while the few at the top expand their wealth at our expense. We need leadership that does more than talk. We need leadership that delivers real solutions, eradicate poverty to create opportunity and to build a sustainable future for us all. Mamai flabo, jen mamai ep nation, nuka mado put dubut ep flabo. It's time for change. Stand with me, stand with the youth. Let's take back our future. Let's tell Philip we don't want the way he cares. We care in a different way and we want policies for change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Natoya Pobo. Just giving you a little sample of what we have in the United Workers' Party. You heard the young man, now you heard the young lady. The fire of the Flabo is alight. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what, I enjoyed Natoya's contribution to such an extent that I feel I should hear another young lady. And so, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you yet another young lady of the United Workers' Party. You know, you young people make me feel so proud that even if I don't still have my youth, you remind me of my youth. And so, ladies and gentlemen, to the podium now, I will introduce to you from the Castries South constituency. And by the way, I heard through the grapevine that the United Workers' Party has a candidate for Castries South as well. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. The people who are worried know why they are trembling. But the announcements are coming. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the podium Miss Ayanthe Serie, who will now address you.
Good evening, my fellow Flabo family. It is so good to be back here, but my message is anything but. I stand before you today as a deeply concerned woman, a citizen, a mother, a sister, a proud St. Lucian, a woman who, like you, was promised a better healthcare system. A system that would protect and care for our families. But instead, what we have received is broken promises, mounting failures, and an unrelenting crisis in our healthcare sector. 3.5 years ago, we were assured that the St. Jude Hospital would be completed within 1 year. 3.5 years later, that promise remains unfulfilled. And worse yet, the cost has skyrocketed by over $200 million. Our country continues to pour millions into a project that remains incomplete, while our people suffer due to inadequate healthcare services. Where has all this money gone? Why must we continue to wait while our loved ones are denied proper healthcare? Over the past year, we have seen an exodus of doctors and nurses, professionals who have dedicated their lives to serving us. They are leaving in record numbers, and yet this government has offered no solutions, no plans to retain or replace them. What does that say about the state of our healthcare system? If our healthcare workers, the backbone of our hospitals and clinics, cannot see a future here, then what future is left for us? We still face shortages of hospital beds, medication, and even the most basic medical equipment. How many more lives must be lost because of these shortages? How many more families must grieve loved ones who could have been saved if only the system had resources to provide adequate care? Patients are being turned away, appointments are being cancelled, and families are left scrambling to find alternative care that is often unaffordable. Too many of us have had to resort to barbecues, sponsor sheets, and country and western dances just to avoid life-saving treatments. This is not the way a healthcare system should function. We were deceived yet again when this SLP government introduced a 2.5% health and security levy. They told us it would help fund better healthcare. Yet, instead of increasing the budget for healthcare, they reduced it. Where is the money going? If not to our hospitals, our clinics, and our doctors, then to whom? This is not just mismanagement, it is betrayal. Our people are being taxed more, yet seeing fewer benefits. The basic right to accessible healthcare is being stripped away in broad daylight. The Castries Health Center has been closed since December 2023, further straining nearby health facilities and adding to the burden on an already collapsing system. Patients have to travel long distances to access care, and for many, that is simply not an option. Elderly individuals, pregnant mothers, and those with chronic illnesses are suffering the most from this crisis. And perhaps more disturbingly, the government has completely abandoned the National Health Insurance Program initiated by the previous administration. An initiative that would have provided every St. Lucian with up to $75,000 in annual coverage, all for the sake of politics. They have chosen their political pride over the well-being of our people. Now they claim to have introduced universal health care. But what kind of universal health care exists only in name? They say that persons 80 and older, as well as maternity services, can now be accessed freely. But where? These services are not available in the hospitals, leaving health centers that are already stretched beyond capacity to handle cases they are not equipped for. And to add insult to injury, the new CEO of the Millennium Heights Medical Complex has reportedly told people that if their conditions are not serious, si condition passe away, pas venir l'hôpital là. So dis-moi, comment supposé aller? En bas pied mango, I souffert more. St. Lucia, we are in a healthcare crisis. And this government, the very people who promised to fix it, have failed us. They have turned their backs on the sick, the elderly, the pregnant mothers, and every hardworking St. Lucian who just wants to know that if they or their loved ones fall ill, they will receive proper care. Enough is enough. We cannot continue to accept failure. We cannot continue to accept excuses while our people suffer. We must demand better. We must demand accountability. We must demand a healthcare system that truly serves us. The time for action is now, because our lives and the lives of our children depend on it. St. Lucians, we must raise our voices. We must challenge this government and hold them accountable for the pain and suffering they have caused. We must demand answers about the billions spent with nothing to show for it. We must demand solutions to retain our nurses and doctors, to open more hospitals and clinics, and to ensure that every citizen, regardless of income, has access to the care they deserve. Our nation cannot afford to let this crisis continue. Healthcare is not a privilege, it is a right, and we the people must stand together to fight for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ayante Seri. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Our youth are on fire, and as I listened to Ms. Seri talk about our healthcare system, you know. I don't have the time now to go into it. She did a very good job in giving you a summary. But I just want to, share with you a story that many of you might have heard. Because of how bad things are in St. Lucia, it has caught the attention of the outside world. And so some British reporters, I don't know if it is from the BBC, they came down here to see if what we're saying is really true, because they cannot believe healthcare could be so bad in a country. So they went to OKEU and they saw the people. So they say they're going to interview the people themselves to find out firsthand what the situation is. So here goes the interview. BBC reporter, excuse me, ma'am, did you come here to die? The lady sat there and said, yes, to die. That is the situation of your healthcare in St. Lucia. When you go to OKEU today, you go there to die. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time. We're live on television and we have a certain time frame to, maintain. But I just want to make one announcement before I introduce the next speaker. Tell the Sikh Star General that the Labour Party said they have a Sikh Star General. You know who is the Sikh Star General? Yes. Tell the Sikh Star General we have his number. Ladies and gentlemen, the United Workers' Party has finally found the candidate who will bring to an end the embarrassment that we have in this country as a Prime Minister. And so, I will now introduce to address you the man who will dislodge the Sikh Star General in the coming election. I would like to introduce to you Mr. Peter Chico, who will address you.
Good evening to all St. Lucians here and in the diaspora. Good evening, my people from Castries East. Today marks a dawn of a new day, a new era. Today, we, the people of St. Lucia, are demanding accountability from the St. Lucia Labour Party comrades. Over the past 4 years, all we have seen is misdeeds, lies, and misleading information coming from the St. Lucia Labour Party. When asked to account, all we get from the Prime Minister, Mr. Philip Joseph Pierre, is the same rhetoric. I do not know, I am not a policeman, or I am not a doctor. But during the opening ceremony of the Majomel Road in Library, he indicated that the year 2026 is the year of accountability. We, the people of St. Lucia, say no. The time for accountability is now. We demand accountability now. They said 2024 was the year of infrastructure. Both the Prime Minister and Dr. Hille claimed that 2024 we would see the Rockhall BMAX housing project completed by July 2025. I ask the media, please join me on the project in Rockhall. They claim new road construction. They claim hospital completion. They claim a Galaxy Hotel at least 80% by July of 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, I spent 2 hours on the site 2 or 3 weeks ago, and trust me, I only saw, I think, at most 6 Chinamen and 2 St. Lucians. This thing is not going to be completed until 2030, in my opinion. St. Lucian voters, how many completion dates have you gotten from Mr. Stevenson King for Millennium Highway? Voters, all these projects were earmarked for 2024-2025. And the ringing of the bell in Dominica, Mr. Philippe Pierre, was that your indication that 2025 was your election year? Voters, St. Lucians, 2024 has ended, and all we got were empty promises from Mr. Philippe Pierre and his comrades. To date, we see no new infrastructural projects, no Millennium Highway, no Grosile Highway, no BMAX housing projects, worst roads ever seen in St. Lucia, worst health care, most taxes ever paid, highest prices for fuel and food, no Galaxy $400 million hotel, and worst of all, no St. Jude. So today, we the people of St. Lucia, especially the constituents of Castries East, are calling on you, Mr. Philip Pierre, and your comrades to account for the lies and deceit on all the projects mentioned over the past 4 years. Your claim to put us first has made us worse. We say enough is enough. The people of Castries East in particular say that we will not be fooled no longer. Your strategy of keeping us in poverty and dependent on your handouts and step will no longer be accepted. We demand sustainable and permanent jobs to improve our lives and the lives of our children in our community. We hate the life of poverty, and we deserve to live comfortable and decent lives and to be able to buy property and build a house of our own. Instead, what do we see? We see properties worth hundreds of thousands, even millions, being built by your ministers, Mr. Kenzen Kazemi and Mr. Stevenson King, as well as your comrade, Mr. McLeod Emmanuel. Sorry, I didn't realize that. Are your ministers and your comrades the only ones being put first? Don't we, the people you claim to be putting first, deserve to own a home or get proper housing? Just walk around the Masha Boulevard and below your BMAX site at Rock Hall to see the conditions that some of the constituents live in. We demand accountability for our failing health care. We, the people of St. Lucia, after you lied and deceived us about a 2.5 levy for health and security, we see our people continue to die because of the bad health care in the country. The Medical and Dental Association complained about the progressively worsening healthcare system. Doctors continue to resign. Our hospitals are without basic medical supplies. No Panadols, no gauzes, no bandages, no glucose meters, and no beds. And Mikunov constituent perished 1 day after being discharged from OKU due to the lack of beds. But Minister Jeremiah Norbert, Virginia Poyot, and Joachim Henry can be flown overseas for medical care. And we understand the privilege of flying still exists for further medical checks. Why was the Miku constituent not given the same courtesy? Are your ministers' lives more valuable than the people who voted for you to put you in office in exchange for being put first? Minister Poyot said it well and best when she claimed that her life was worth it. Why did it take a public uproar for Minister Prosper to come out with assistance for the innocent young lady who was shot in Dennery? Is that the way you are putting us first? Well, we are tired of the persistent lies and demand an immediate removal of the 2.5 health and security levy on the backs of the poor people of St. Lucia. Over the past 4 years, we have seen an increase in gun violence, making 2024 the bloodiest year in St. Lucia under your watch.
Yes.
As many as 10 young lives have been lost in your constituency, Castries East. Yet, you have not heard a word from you as Prime Minister and Parliamentary Representative, or from your Ministers of Crime Prevention or Home Affairs, even when we are still paying taxes, 2.5% levy on everything to ensure proper security. We ask then, why are we still paying the 2.5 health and security levy? How do you expect anyone to trust a bunch of pathological liars who consistently tell lies and other lies to cover the first lie that they told?
Yes.
Why should the people of Castries East trust you, Prime Minister, Mr. Philip Pierre, or the people of St. Lucia trust any of your ministers when they give lies after lies and deceive? Your lies continue when you and Mr. Prosper lied to the farmers, trying to convince them that the delay for the oil to be used on the farms were associated with the issues in the Panama Canal. Really? You hairlight? These lies offend us as people. We know that no cargo from the United States goes through the Panama Canal. You continue to tell lies to cover your failure over the past 4 years. The recent town hall meeting in Castries Southeast last week showed how much lying is embedded in the DNA of the St. Lucia Labour Party when you introduced Mr. Jeremiah Norbert. What was even more offensive was when Mr. Norbert endorsed your lies by trying to convince the citizens at the meeting that Mr. Shastney lied about providing assistance for his medical care during the time of his accident. We are tired of your arrogance and that of your comrades when asked to account on matters affecting us as a citizen and voters to be told that it is not our business. Remember when you were approached for assistance for the youth of the constituency while coaching the Masha community football team? I think your response is the business of the Castries, the constituents of Castries East. When you mentioned that you have done a lot in sports for the youth of the constituency at an interview last year, you were sent a few requests asking for details. I believe your response should be the business of the voters of Castries East, and I am making a final appeal on national media for your response. If not, at my next public event, I will unveil all the sinister details of our discussions in your office as Minister of Tourism in 2006. After you had served for 3 consecutive terms as parliamentary representative for the Castries East constituency. In closing, Mr. Pierre, I say to you, your time and that of your comrades have arrived, and you will receive your judgment at the hands of the voters, particularly from the constituents of Castries East at the next general election. My message to you, citizens of St. Lucia's, all voters, especially the constituents of Castries East, join the movement for change. Let us remove the St. Lucia Liars Party and elect the only party which stands for progress and development of St. Lucia. The only party which will put you first by providing you with proper health care, better security for the safer country, proper housing for our families where our children can live and feel safe. Join the United Workers' Party under the visionary leadership of the Honorable Alan Michael Shastney to become the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia. I thank you. Thank you.
And thank you very much. The next parliamentary representative for Castries East. Now, you heard the ladies, they were powerful. You heard the gentleman, a real gentleman. You know, talking about gentlemen, there is a gentleman's code. And that gentleman's code says that a gentleman is respectful of a woman. Yes. That gentleman code says that a gentleman treats a lady with consideration and dignity. Among us gentlemen in this country of St. Lucia, we have our special code that a gentleman never disrespects another gentleman's mother. Now, I just said Richard Frederick is not a gentleman. And that little boy will be taught a lesson. Because one of the ladies that he disrespected, unfortunately for him, has a gentleman. She gave birth to a gentleman who will ensure who will ensure that we get rid of disrespectful individuals like him. And mongrels have no place among gentlemen. And that kind of mongrel behavior to disrespect ladies. You know mongrels is back after ladies. That mongrel behavior, we have to get rid of it once and for all. Are you all serious about getting rid of that mongrel? Well, I can't do it. I can't do it. Tell me, who will get rid of that mongrel once and for all? Okay. Well, you know what? I now want to call on the individual, the mongrel slayer, who will get rid of that disrespectful little boy. Okay? Who has no dignity, who has no integrity, who has no character. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do it in a rush. And now I call on Rush Clark to address you.
From where I am standing, I can see my mother right there. How many of you have heard of El Chapo? How many of you have heard of El Chapo? I'll tell you a little bit about him. He's one of America's most dangerous criminals. And thankfully, he's behind bars for the rest of his life. But he was put there for being responsible for the thousands of murders and him having drug cartels in every corner. It made no difference whether you were a man, whether you were a woman, or even a child. If you crossed El Chapo, you would pay with it with your life.
That's right.
He controlled the police force in Mexico. And not only the police, he controlled the judges too. Any evil thought that comes to mind, El Chapo has done worse. But you know, right here in St. Lucia, we have our own version of El Chapo. Right here in St. Lucia, we have our own version of El Chapo. No. What we have here is El Guapo. Frog face. Now, some of you might have heard what the comments were by this misrepresentative on his rubbish show. I can tell you, I was wakened by several messages and calls from people all over the city, letting me know how disgusted they were with the comments made by this man against my mother. They told me to ensure that you protect and you stand by her. A woman they know to be a woman of virtue, a woman of honor, and a woman of respect. When I went and see my mother, I will tell you my personal experience. When I went and see my mother, I could see that the comment initially hurt her. But I felt her strength because she refused to curse his name, and she looked at me and told me that her conscience is clear. And that she's leaving everything in the hands of God. I hugged her and I told her, we know. Every mother, every son, every daughter, in every corner, in every ghetto in this city knows. They know. They know the fight you had to face with poverty just for your children's future. They know the pain you carried to maintain a strong family. They know that you tried your best to shield us from the hardship and the struggles that you faced. Someone like Richard Frederick cannot understand because he doesn't care and he doesn't have a heart for the people in this city. When I lost my father, I'll say it here. When I lost my father, I saw a city cry more than me. I saw communities go days leading into weeks from the shock and disbelief. The weight of the grief was not only mine to carry, it was shared by friends, family, neighbors, even strangers. I watched the city's streets get quieter, and not even the wind itself was hesitating to disturb silence. A man where his kindness melded hearts. He shouldered the burdens of so many people without any cause to look for recognition. He inspired, and his actions spoke louder than any speech. See, we do not get to choose the families that we are born into. Neither do we get to choose the conditions of where we are born. But these same conditions has molded me, have made me a man today of integrity. I say all of this, and I say all of this the humility that my father carried, the honor and respect that my mother carries, someone like Richard Frederick can never have. But I am not here to sugarcoat anything. I am not here to entertain any kind of rubbish. A man that has been sworn to help serve the constituency of Castries Central has become the embodiment of everything that is wrong with the political and justice system today. I am here to speak the truth and to tell you of the man that stands there currently representing you as a parliamentary representative, El Quapo. The allegations surrounding El Quapo are serious. It's not a joke. Now, I want to say this. Rosh Clark is no reporter. I am not here to air any news. Everything that I am about to say has been said, has been heard, and has been seen by everyone in the city, members of parliament, the police force. In fact, everyone in this country should know who is El Quapo. But for those that might not know, such as the Prime Minister, some of you, some of those labor rights, and those that are living under a rock, allow me to shed some light on the facts and the allegations that surround the notorious El Quapo. The first thing you need to know about El Quapo is that when he's placed on the back foot, he attacks women. Women he believes would not fight him back. Secondly, he attacks the dead. People he knows that cannot fight him back. The third thing you need to know about El Quapo is that when he cannot get to you, he goes after your family. El Chapo, El Quapo. You see the resemblance? But let me tell you what the difference is. The final thing you need to know about El Quapo. He became an officer to fight against the criminals. Then he became a lawyer to fight for the criminals. Now he's a minister of criminals. My people, this stems where I have to find myself asking a question. And the question I need to ask is, how comes a man that is not the Prime Minister, a man that is not the Minister of National Security, can dictate and instruct the Commissioner of Police, command our police force to arrest who he wants, when he wants, fire who he wants, when he wants them fired, with no investigation and no evidence, just do it on his say-so. Well, we've seen with our own eyes that even the justice system has been puppeteered by El Quapo. Now, I don't have much time here, but I want to go straight to this. have a serious question. Every time this misrepresentative speaks on criminals, we have to remind ourselves, each time remind ourselves that we are not hearing a confession. Why is it that every time this man speaks about corruption, we have to remind ourselves that we are not hearing his confession? The people of St. Lucia are not blind. They know that this country's El Guapo is the main perpetrator of the very lawlessness that he now criticizes. We demand that El Guapo be held accountable, not for just his words, but his alleged role in fostering the very crime culture he now condemns. I could continue on so much more, but time is against me. And apparently, like El Guapo, it does be for another show. But that operation will resort, or should I say, that operation will restore nobody's confidence. Now I'm putting El Guapo on notice. Amen. Refrain from disrespecting and slandering the names of the people in our city, in our constituency, and in our country. The word honorable and you don't go together, you know. The word honorable and El Guapo does not go together. We do not want a representative that will call us the 43%ers, people of this city, bottom feeders. We do not want a representative that will reproach the public on live television for every pot, kettle, pan that he now gives to them. Now, just in case, I want to ask all of us here, who is the individual that said, do not touch my vendors, and you were the first to victimize them? Who is the individual that is not wanted by the Flabo and the Labour Party? Who is the individual that right now we see as the St. Lucia's Minister of Crime himself? Now, my people, I will conclude. But if you believe, if you believe you are rough and tough, boy, if you believe you are rough and tough, ask me who I am. I will tell you who I am. If you believe you are the big bad wolf, I'm the wolf catcher. If you believe you are a lion, a bear, a snake, don't worry, I'm the zookeeper. And if you say, if you can actually look at yourself and believe to be a dragon, that you can fly around how you want and spit fire on whomever you want, meet the Dragon Slayer. My people, I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for our next parliamentary representative for Castries Central, Rush Clark. That is how a gentleman responds to a mongrel. You know, I listened to Rush, you know, and he told you exactly who Richard is, El Guapo. And so on the last show I spoke, that was on Meet the Opposition, I said to you, Richard sees himself as being the most popular politician in St. Lucia. It may be so, but remember, popularity is being well liked, and popularity is also being well known. There's no question that Richard is well known, and we know what he is well known for. And I said to him, Popularity comes either from being famous or being notorious. There are some St. Lucians who have become popular because they were famous. I'm talking about Sir Arthur Simmons. Sorry, so Arthur Lewis, sorry, not Arthur Simmons. So Arthur Lewis, Derek Walcott, Rick Wynn, Darren Sammy, Julian Alfred. These are all St. Lucians who have become popular because they were famous. I will not call the names of the St. Lucians who have become popular because they are notorious. But I know some international figures who have become popular because they were notorious. El Chapo is one of them. Escobar is one of them. Al Capone is one of them. And El Guapo is one of them. And so, when Rush tells you that, like I told you, real men, gentlemen, respect women. They don't attack women. And like Rush told you, Richard Frederick attacks women and Richard Frederick attacks the dead. That is the mark of the lowest level of a coward that you can find. You know, talking about attacking women, the man went to town so upset, and you know, I learned that from my mother a long time ago, the truth offends. And Richard was so offended because Dominic Fady, our deputy political leader, said that the Labour Party, among whom Richard sits today, alleged that he is a drug trafficker, alleged that he is a money launderer, and they even suggested that Richard Frederick is a murderer. He hit the roof and went to town on Dominic. Now, as a politician, they can do their thing. But when you go so low as to talk about Dominic's mother, as a gentleman, I take offense and I take objection to that. Richard says that Dominic's mother has to go and do a DNA to find out if Dominic's father is his father. That's the low level that we have in our parliament today. And sorry, but Rush, I am rushing you. Get rid of that low life out of our parliament once and for all. But you know what? There are great things that come in small packages. And remember, I told you earlier, because Josh mentioned it, David killed Goliath. And so in the United Workers' Party, we have men who are giants, irrespective of their physical stature. And I'm going to introduce to you one such man now. I am going to now call on one of the deputy political leaders of the United Workers' Party, and to be more specific, the next parliamentary representative of ancillary canneries. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Dominic Fady, who will now address you.
How are you feeling? All right, let's go straight into business because we're losing time. I want to thank you, first of all, for your calls of support. And I saw a lot of you on the live very powerfully putting Richard and the Labour Party in their place. Thank you so much. I think it was an amazing week. I think that the point we made is that the United Workers' Party is a new United Workers' Party. We are not weak anymore. We are not passive anymore. You just can't say what you want about a flabo anymore. If you touch one flabo, you have to touch all the flabos. Now tonight, I want to read for you an excerpt from a book. And it's a speech delivered by former Prime Minister Dr. Kenny Anthony. And he was addressing the law students at the Norman Manley School of Law in Jamaica. And I want to see if you can hear anybody familiar as I read what Dr. Anthony told the students. Listen carefully. And the book is called A Rainbow's Edge. He says there was a time when the dream to become a lawyer, a barrister, an advocate was based on a deep sense of honor, a civil desire to protect our people, advance our system of justice, and the development of our jurisprudence. He went on to write. He said, that dream has been replaced by greed and by incompetence. Our lawyers have lost their pivotal role in the development of justice in our states. Money, Kenny writes, and the accumulation of money have become the motivating fuel. He went on to say, one of my esteemed friends put it this way: fees provide the oxygen of the profession. Fees in return for incompetence and experience is one thing. Greed coupled with incompetence is a wholly different matter. Once in private practice, lawyers seem unable to resist the vagaries and the vicissitudes of our society. That word vicissitudes is like ups and downs of life. Then he goes on to say this: just as the drug trade, you want me to read that again? Yeah. Just as the drug trade has blossomed, so too has the legal practice to protect drug traffickers, to protect money launderers, and to protect their hitmen. You want me to read that again? Just as the legal profession has blossomed, so too has the legal profession to protect drug traffickers, to protect money launderers, and to protect their hitmen. Now, I leave you to figure out. Now, Timothy Polio, whom you all know very well, was reading an excerpt. He read this speech on a show that he used to have on Choice called The Hot Button Issue. And guess who was the first caller to Tim's show that day when he read the excerpt? El Guapo. So El Guapo called the show and he said, oh, he's talking about me. You know, he's talking about me, he's talking about me. So Tim said, Tim read the speech again. He said there's no name mentioned in the speech. He did not mention whether it's from Jamaica or from Guyana or St. Kitts or lawyers in Israel. He just say lawyers. He said, no. Kenny knows that I'm entering politics. And Kenny is seeking to sully my reputation. So imagine my surprise when Richard called Newspin this week. And when Tim asked him, where do you believe it started that you are the most frightening thing to have happened to politics? And Richard Frederick said, I don't know. You see, Kenny Anthony has been telling us for a long time. He has been warning us about Richard Frederick. He has been telling us for a long time that Richard Frederick is a dangerous individual to the politics of St. Lucia. But he wasn't the only one. Sir John Compton famously called Richard Barabbas. And those of you here from Central Castries know that had it not been for pressure from a few people in the Castries Central constituency branch, that John Compton would have never ever put Richard Frederick in the United Workers' Party. You know that. That is deeply interwoven into the history of Flabo. So John didn't have you When a man introduces you as Barabbas, it means that he's reluctant to have you. In his 80s, he didn't have a choice because some of his people that you paid off, some of them are your ground people now. And I see one of them posting on Facebook saying that Flabo has resurrected old news. I want to say to them that whenever you are a minister and you are in government, it is never stale news. Never. Until you give us some level of signal that you have changed. Now, the election passed. Sir John unfortunately passed away. And Alan Shastney, our leader, and you, many of you delegates here tonight, you expelled Richard from the United Workers' Party because you know that Richard Frederick is not the quality of candidate that the United Workers' Party will ever place in its history. You know that. We lost the election. The Labour Party won the election. I was watching on my home on television, and as I watched the cabinet announce of the Labour Party, I was shocked to see that Richard Frederick was among the lineup of ministers that Philip J. Pierre, after calling him a drug dealer, after calling him a money launderer, after saying all of these things about him, would put him in the cabinet. But it tells you something about Philip J. Pierre. Philip J. Pierre is a weak leader. And only weak leaders will see selfish, narrow political interests over the greater good of the country. And so this is bigger than all of us. This is making sure that we leave a strong country for our children. This is making sure that we leave our country in good, clean hands. And so believe you me when I tell you that I am ready to fight Richard Frederick. That I am ready to fight the Labour Party. Believe you when I tell you. He said on Newspin that they wake up the lion. But he don't know who's the real lion. I was born on the 2nd of August. And if you don't know anything about Leos, go check what's the symbol of a Leo. No prime minister in their good mind. You know, Spider was acting as prime minister once. And Richard was arrested, called in to the Grizzly police station for under invoicing. And he picked up the phone and he says, Spider, Spider, come and save me. Come and free me. But Spider is not Philip J. Pierre. Spider said, look, I might be the prime minister, but I am not the judiciary. And so whatever problems you have with the law, face the law. I am not coming to get you. That's not how we do it in the United Workers' Party. We are a people of class. We are a people of standards. We are a people of integrity. And we are a people, whether you are good or you are bad, we will let the law take its course. And so that's how we do it in the United Workers' Party. And so this guy had the gall to go and talk about me and a 16-year-old, Richard Frederick, you of all people, you that have abused the women of this country, you that have abused the women on your talk show, I have never ever went and boast on a talk show what I have done with a schoolgirl. I have never ever done that. Have some class. Have some standards. Don't go out there telling lies because you can't win me on the debate about how many houses you've built. Because I'm brave enough to call you out and to say what you've done is wrong. You can go on Can I Help Me and say whatever you want. I am not going to stop talking about your failure. You have failed as a housing minister. You are the worst housing minister in the history of this country. I left politics. I started a business. I did so from scratch under the St. Lucia Labour Party administration. Boy, jealousy is a hell of a thing. So they can't keep you down. They want you to go and beg them for something when you're in opposition. They want you to go and go and ask them for something. Okay? But I am not going to do that. I have too much talent. In the United Workers' Party, that's who we are. We are workers. We are creative people. And whether we're in government or we're in opposition, we will make a living and we will eat. So Richard Frederick goes on a show and says that my business should have been a community project. So who is the community? Who do you want to own the business? Which business does the government own in St. Lucia? Since when the government does own businesses? What nonsense is that? Where in the Ministry of Tourism will you ever find documentation to support that I use my powers as a minister to open a business? Absolutely ridiculous. And that is what? Lies, lies, and more lies. Lies, lies, and more lies. But I'll say to you tonight, the election that is coming up is the most important election of our time. And so we have to go out there, we have to fight, we have to march, we have to organize, and we have to mobilize and make sure that when that bell is rung, that we come out in a force and we rush them out and we make sure that the first seat to fall is the Central Castries seat. Have a great night.
Thank you very much, Senator Fede, our deputy political leader. Now, Dominic, let me just say something to you. I am under Papi Show, you know. You take me for Philippia? Philippia is the one who said, I went to the court to see that justice is done, interfering as a head of the executive with the judiciary. When Richard called, Spider, guys, so come on, make them let me go. And I said, no more. You are a lawyer, you know better than I do that there's a separation of powers between the judiciary and the executive. Don't expect me to come. As a matter of fact, when I go home tonight, I'm not passing down that road there by the station. I'm passing by the marina. Okay. So, and let me just say to you, Dominic. Dominic said that when we talk about the things that are before us, they say we are resurrecting stale news. Let me make this announcement tonight. The United Workers' Party is not resurrecting stale news. The United Workers' Party is once and for all burying bad news. And that is what we're doing. But ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce the next speaker, let me just remind you, you have to listen to Like It Is on Monday. Because this is not my platform. I mean, you see the kind of speakers we have there, I can't come and put myself there. But unlike It Is, we will deal with the issues. You have to listen. Monday night, 8 p.m., Like It Is. Now, you know what? Richard Frederick and the Labour Party have gone after this guy relentlessly. I'll tell you which guy. And up to this day, up to this moment, they have not succeeded in crushing him or destroying him. Their polls are showing them that the guy is leading in the constituency. So they want to get rid of their colleague and bring a pretty face. But you know what? It is no queen contest. This is real business about people's lives. And the thing about it is, when you have a track record, people do make mistakes. And when you have a party of liars, because in the St. Lucia Labour Party lies the liars. They bluff the people of St. Lucia, made them believe that they will get it better, but we have seen what it is. So now, we are going to compare 2021, despite COVID, to 2021. Well, they're going to be this year. We're going to make sure we force them out this year. Yes. And then you will be able to tell who are the real performers. Now, among the real performers, I go through a particular constituency on a regular basis because I have a farm there. When they talk now, recently I went with my brother, so I wasn't driving. When I'm driving, I pay attention to the road. My reflexes are not what they used to be. But when you're in the passenger seat, you can look around. Moati, concrete road, footpath. When I talk about development in a constituency, that guy delivered. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if I who go there occasionally know that and can tell, the people who live there know that firsthand. And so, in the upcoming general elections, they know, apart from ancillary canneries, apart from Castries Central, apart from Castries East, I'll tell you all of the others later. The next seat that we know already that will fall is the seat of the constituency of Castries Southeast. And so now, I will introduce you to the guy you're asking me about. And we're going to present to you the right guy, the real guy, the only guy, Guy Joseph, next representative for Castries Southeast.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone. To all our listeners, both in the diaspora and locally. Tonight, we are going straight into business. And while we are not featuring our political leader tonight, we are showing you that there is firepower in the United Workers' Party. And you have heard the speakers before me. I bring you special greetings, and I acknowledge the people of Castries Southeast. We are on the eve of celebrating independence. And it is amazing that a Labour Party who opposed independence in 1979 want to behave as if they are the champions of independence in this country. Liars. That is what they are. Can you believe they call everybody to run with the baton in the constituency? People who have contributed and people who have not contributed. But the UWP stalwarts who have developed the constituencies and the country has been bypassed by the Labour Party. Even in independence, when the nation should be coming together. But I want to tell them, we don't need the baton. What we need is the reins of governance in this country to fix things in St. Lucia. So we can celebrate independence thanks to Sir John and the United Workers' Party. And I challenge all St. Lucians to listen to the interview on the 25th anniversary of St. Lucia's independence that was done by Sir John and Mr. Robert Lee. And you will understand that in this statement, Sir John said, in 25 years, if we are not mindful, there would not be a St. Lucia. And that was in 2004, I believe. So 25 years takes us to 2029. You know what that means? If St. Lucians make a mistake and re-elect Labour, there will not be a St. Lucia for us to enjoy. And I challenge you, it's on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. And you will see. You see, Labour Party has kept this country behind. 95% of our development can clearly be attributed to the United Workers' Party. Yet, for the last almost 30 years, Labour has been in office for almost 20 years. UWP just 10 years. And you can put Labour's 20 years by any 5 years of the UWP, and the UWP would have done more to develop St. Lucia in 5 years than Labour has done in the last 20 years. As for Castries Southeast, and you heard from Spider, I have a challenge for the Labour Party. Take any 1 year of my representation from 2016 to 2021, and we put it against the 5 years of the Labour Party. And if they have done more for 5 years than I did in 1 year, I'm not running the next election. A parliamentary rep comes, and after almost 4 years in office, your only achievement, your flagship project, is a bus shelter. In 2025, what a disgrace. What a shame. Even Labour knows that they have not performed. I have just one question for the SLP. Why do you hate Castries Southeast? I want Labour to tell me why they hate Castries Southeast so much. I will deal with that at a separate time, because this is not campaigning for Castries Southeast. But everything we have started in the constituency has been stopped by the Labour Party, to the point where a contract for a road that was issued and the contractor was working, the project was cancelled, and the money was sent to do the road between Bocage to Mondedon. Note the people. Now, there has been much discussion about Barabbas. But the question that confronts us is, who was Barabbas?
Preach it, my brother.
And according to John 18, the Gospel of St. John 18 and verse 40, he was a robber and a thief. Now, there is a difference between a robber and a thief. A robber is someone who steals your property from another person by using force or the threat of force. And a thief is someone who takes property without the owner's consent, but without directly using force or intimidation. Who qualifies in both instances, both as a robber and a thief? And according to Acts 3:14, you know what it says? He's a murderer. Can you imagine? A murderer. So, Barabbas was both a murderer and a thief. In other words, he was a top-class criminal. That's what he was. He was notorious. And you know what it is to be notorious? To be well known in an unfavorable way. So there are people who are well known for good reasons. But when you are notorious, you are well known for the wrong reasons. Notorious criminals, a person well known for committing crimes. Why is it in this country, every time you speak about a certain individual, the resounding cry of the nation is, you're not afraid they put a hit on you? Yes. So, why should we be afraid of a member in the Prime Minister's office putting a hit on St. Lucians when they speak their mind? You see, our reputation So when Sir John said, I did not choose you, the people chose you. So he said, I give you Barabbas. That's like Pilate. You know, Pilate wanted to free Jesus. So he tried to bargain with the people, and they said, give us Barabbas. Well, Castries Central, you have chosen Barabbas in the past. Now you have rushed. You have to choose the right man for the job. You see, Labour Party can wash their hands, but their hands will not be clean. SLP knows that Barabbas is not good. But here's the problem they have. They must stop pretending. And I heard Dominic read about Kenny. Let me tell you something, Dr. Kenny Anthony. Silence is consent. You are guilty as charged. So you can pretend that you will not sit in a cabinet with Richard, but Parliament is higher than cabinet, and you sit in Parliament with him as a elected member and a member in the cabinet. Hodiake nou tombe telma ba ou se deputy speaker. Ek Richard say minister in the prime minister's office. Kenny, you should be ashamed of yourself. And maybe you need to apologize to the law students that you wrote this and you delivered this speech to. Because silence is consent. Si pan sutuyes, pan vole. So, the only leader in this country who was man enough to stand to Richard Frederick was Alan Michael Chasney. That's the only leader. Sir John did not stop him. Kenny did not stop him. King did not stop him. Pierre cannot stop him. But Alan Chasney had him fired from the United Workers' Party. Now, Sir John was a great politician and a great leader. And I heard Richard trying to make mileage from Sir John. Everybody knows, Spider knows, I know, all of us who are there knows that Sir John didn't want you in UWP. But let me remind St. Lucians, the only two politicians going up for elective politics in UWP today who was handpicked by Sir John, who's still there, is Alan Chasney and Guy Joseph. But you see, Sir John gave us an opportunity to serve in his party. We have delivered from our end. So we don't have to fall back on the coattails of Sir John. Alan Chasney has proven that he is one of the best leaders in this country. And I've given the best representation that Castries Southeast has ever had. You see, we need to understand, Sir John brought in Alan Chasney to handle the most important economic driver in the country when he came back into government in 2006, the Ministry of Tourism, as the main foreign exchange earner for St. Lucia. He did this against the opposition from some of his own elected MPs. Yes. And Spider knows who was fighting to be Minister for Tourism and wanted to threaten Sir John. Yes. But Sir John stood his ground and he said, Alan Chasney is the man for the job. One that has somewhat aligned himself with the Labour Party these days was one of those who was fighting Sir John to be Minister of Tourism. But Sir John, being the visionary leader that he was, said Alan Chasney is the man for the job. Like Sir John, we have Alan Chasney to lead a rescue mission for St. Lucia. Philip, we cannot take it no more. Just call the elections. You see, when the truth is staring us in the face, we choose to turn a blind eye. Where am I going with this? SLP have made many allegations over the years about various UWP MPs. When the MPs join them, their slates are wiped clean. Qu'est-ce que tu dis about Steve? You're the cells à Steve ni se birth certificate. Ta sa ibo te maye, so ipaten marriage certificate. Today, they tell you he is senior minister. Senior, yeah. Because la pana yen can deliver as senior minister. Now, I can also tell you, SLP, thank you. I can tell you all, SLP allegations about Guy Joseph are lies and propaganda. In fact, Proverbs 26:11 says, as a dog returns to its own vomit, so a fool repeats its folly. And 2 Peter 2:22 says, a dog returns to its own vomit, and a sow, having washed, to her wallowing in the mud. Peter is describing or dealing with the problem of false prophets and false teachers. Now, every Thursday night, there's a false prophet and a false teacher. Sell side pop, say Marty. Now we got Marty Telma, Tansa. Here's what it says. False teachers are described as brute beasts, and they must be caught and destroyed. And I heard the dragon slayer say he will deal with the dragon. We didn't know what each other wrote, but every day there are more lies being peddled by this St. Lucia Labour Party. For 5 years, they told you how corrupt we were. They told you how Fresh Start belonged to Guy Joseph. Some of you flambos believed it. But I've never been afraid of my skin. But you know what? Today, Fresh Start is the savior for the St. Lucia Labour Party. Every job they want, Richard, what do you want? You think he's doing that for Guy Joseph? You think if Fresh Start belonged to Guy Joseph, Richard Frederick would give them a job? So, lies again. They told you, and Richard said, today, he and the SLP has eaten their own vomit. They vomited lies about corruption and bauble. And now they have eaten their own vomit. You know what it is? That means they have taken back all the lies that they said. But you still believe them. St. Lucia, they said, and this is what they said. He said he has more vomit to it. Pas moi qui dit, hein? Li qui dit, SLP told you they lied about what they found. It's hard to believe. Even some flabos find it hard to believe. In the midst of all this, I remain clean, and only God knows. Fresh Start has made more money on the SLP than they were making on the UWP. The Castries Grosile Road, we gave them the project for 15 million and they had to finish it. Labour is paying them 21 million for the road as it is there. Ki moun ki fe bobol la? Labour ebe flabo. You see, that is where Labour caused us to lose the election by fooling the people. Steve and Pierre needs to explain to the people of St. Lucia. Now RF has, what's the new name? El Quapo has the Labour Party in a chokehold. Your toothpaste. They want to fire him, but they cannot fire him. Now, I have some news for you. What did he say? They wake up the lion? Yes. Lions don't go back and eat their vomit. Now, I don't want them to say I call anybody any name. The man said he's a lion. I want you to know, lions do not go back and eat their vomit. What animals go back and eat their vomit? C'est chien qui kama vomit au vie. Now madi bugla isa chien likidi ma vomit vie. So don't come and shout nothing about you lion. You not no lion. Now, all SLP honchos have to bow to El Quapo. Kenny, Pierre, Alva, Musa, Sean. When he's healer, yes. When he speak, none of them. Ukwayo kontra tout sa Richard Kadila. Dio pale. They tell you he not an SLP, but you send in SLP PRO and defend him. Why you send in SLP PRO and defend him? And poor job the little girl. You have not even started a political career and you have to go and lie to defend people. All the text messages show you that Jeremiah and Pierre lied. You call in Tim, and when Tim offer you the courtesy of returning your call, you pretending as if c'est pas ou qui couille Tim, c'est Tim qui couille. Now I'm not Tim, but if I was Tim, c'est dernier jour de parler à sous newspeak. Because you see, you want to take big people's work, and when you finish, you cannot handle it. But I'm waiting. Let Labour fight their fight. When they're ready for me, I am ready for them. Now I want to tell you, Rush and Dominic is more man than the whole Labour Party put together. I am putting myself in that. I am putting Spider in that. You see, Rush and Dominic, they handled El Quapo very well this past week. And here's the thing. They have stood up to a bully. And you push back against a bully. He's bullying the whole, now not my words, bullying. He's bullying the whole Labour Party. But they can't do nothing. They just have to sit there and take it. The Labour Party is a party of liars. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Alan Chasney did not have these text messages? What would have been said today? And even in the midst of presenting the evidence, and everybody can see they lie, you're still Kamati. No, they don't have no shame, because if you are ashamed, you accept I have done something wrong. Maybe I misspoke. See Bugladi, St. Lucia, Europe. Kiss I expect from Liako. You see, a party of liars. Me Shazbawe yo. Shazbouche yo. Because you're the deputy 2021. Monsieur Pahahemen Commission Saha. Alephoni. Now, we can laugh at that, but when a prime minister can stoop so low to lie about something that was genuinely done to save the life of a St. Lucian, I don't look at Jeremiah as a politician. I see him as a St. Lucian. The sitting prime minister acted on your behalf. And rather than say thank you, you all turn around and call him a liar. And you want to talk about youth representation? If that is what youth representation is, you are disgrace to every young person in this country. Jeremiah and Philip, you all owe St. Lucians an apology. I hope the PRO knows that RF El Quapo have files on her too. And I hope she knows that some of these files are circulating, because there seem to be some deputy commissioner that is circulating files. So I want to know what is the relationship between the deputy commissioner, the PRO, and RF. You see, you're going down a road that is dangerous. As I prepare to close, here are the facts. $6 billion has disappeared in St. Lucia under Philip J. Pierre. And I want Labour Party to take me to court on this if that is not true. $6 billion is missing. And I can give you all the figures. Now, Labour pa fait bobol pa thousand and million. C'est pas billion, yo ka fait bobol. We need UWP to come back into office so St. Lucians can get back their money. When we get back into government, nobody will have to go and do GoFundMe again for medical expenses. And I want to assure the people of Castries Southeast, every resident in Castries Southeast and St. Lucia by extension will have a minimum of $75,000 health coverage under a United Workers' Party government. So tonight, I had more things to say, but I will round up now, because I have reports here that I wanted to deal with. The government report on the St. Jude Hospital, I have it here. And I have the Labour Party. I will touch that one because, give me 1 second. Page 47 of the Labour Party manifesto in 2011, here's what they say. The last 5 years represents the lowest period in the nation's history for housing sector. And this has been the worst performing housing minister. Richard Frederick was the housing minister when Labour Party wrote that. So the fellas lying about themselves. You see what Kenny wrote and Dominic read it? I am showing you what they said about Richard, and they make him Minister of Housing. So if he was the worst and he's Minister of Housing, what is he today? Labour is a government of liars. And we need men of integrity to lead this country. We need to bring back the United Workers' Party. Thank you and good night.
You just heard it from the man himself, Guy Joseph. Labour is a party of liars. And the newest liar that they recruited is Jerry. Hold on. Jerry who? Jerry Liar. The latest one is Jerry Liar. Now, just before we close, because we're running out of time, you know, Guy talked about the independence baton relay, and that's shameful, you know, the way they decide to discriminate against people because of political affiliation. And we'll talk more about that in the week coming. But I just want to say to the Labour Party, they can run with the baton as much as they want, but when the time comes, nous kay jwen même bâton qui bat chien blanc, c'est lui-même qui bat chien jaune. And that is when the election comes. So ladies and gentlemen, you heard the speakers on this platform tonight. If you think you heard fireworks, tanto. As the time goes on, as the campaign unfolds, as we present candidates, now you're going to see fireworks. Because I'm not supposed to say that, but I hear there are 8 new candidates. Now I tell you all too much already. Before my tongue slip, and I go into business that above my pay grade. Because I heard the SLPPRO talking about things that are above her pay grade. Let me not make that mistake. So, in the near future, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. The United Workers' Party will present to you the army that will take the fight to the St. Lucia Labour Party to rescue this country from the abyss that it is now in. So let me just say, I want to thank each and every one of you who are present here, who created the vibes that we have in this room here tonight. I want to thank every one of those dynamic speakers. You know, and I realize, boy, I cannot make the Labour Party. I can make Labour Party anytime. I can never make the United Workers' Party roster of speakers again. That kind of fireworks we have here, including young people, I am very impressed, and I'm sure you are too. So I want to thank all the speakers who presented tonight. You did a remarkable job. You did a wonderful job. And the difference is you did so honestly. You told the truth. And let me thank those of you who are watching on UTV. Let me thank those of you who are watching on DBS. And let me thank those who are following us on live stream, especially those of you in the diaspora who continue to pay a keen interest in what is happening in your country. I say to you, those of you in the States who are undocumented, those that Trump is menacing, you need not worry. When he sends you back, you'll have a good country to come to, as long as the United Workers' Party is in office. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me say thank you and good night. Do not forget, on Monday night at 8 o'clock, we have Like It Is with Spider-Man Tooth. On Tuesday, we have press briefing from 10 o'clock in the morning. On Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, meet the opposition. I suspect it might be the same spider again. And on Thursday night, I believe we might resume the roundtable. I'm not sure. But stay tuned as the United Workers' Party. Now check that. So no, let me tell you something. The future, when I tell you the future is bright, those of you, I do not know if it was coming through the microphone, when the dynamic speakers were making powerful points, when you heard a little voice saying, "That's right," that's the one that was telling, "That's right." Yeah. And already, by following the United Workers' Party, he knows the difference between right and wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. Those of you who are present here, I wish you a safe journey home. And stay tuned to the party that brings you hope, that shines the light, and will rescue the country of St. Lucia. Thank you and good night.